Momo Ayase, a girl who is very strong, but her biggest weakness? An obsession with hot boyfriends. But today, the boy she's in a feud with will end up mentioning the name of her idol actor. And by mistake, she will summon a cursed ghost right in front of him. So what happens in the end? Will they survive? Or will she lose her kidney to an alien-like ghost? Let's dive into the story. The story begins with a girl named Momo Ayase who is extremely annoyed with her boyfriend because the guy is absolutely terrible and immoral. Even when they go on a date, he expects Momo to pay. And when Momo refuses, he tells her they should go to a love hotel. And even that would have to be paid for by Momo. Hearing all this, Momo gets angry and kicks the guy. But the guy is also strong, so he throws Momo to the ground and breaks up with her before leaving. Momo then shares her sadness with her friends, but surprisingly, her friends are actually happy because the guy was a complete loser. Then Momo admits that the guy looked like her favorite actor, Kanta Kakura, and that's why she had a crush on him. She liked that kind of tall, muscular, macho type. But her friends tell her that guys like that can't be found these days. Feeling a little down, Momo walks into the classroom. She sees a few boys bothering a bespectacled boy, throwing paper at him while he silently reads a magazine. Momo doesn't like it. She walks up and sits beside that boy and glares at the other boys in such a way that they stop bothering him. Later, after class, Momo starts thinking about who she can take her anger out on. Right at that moment, the boy with the glasses, the one she had helped, comes to her and assumes that Momo likes him. But Momo says, "You've got the wrong idea." Even though Momo had no interest in him, the boy starts talking about UFOs and aliens. Momo says she doesn't believe in any of that. She believes in ghosts. Then they start arguing. One believes in ghosts, the other says aliens are the real deal. Then they challenge each other. Momo says, "If you show me a ghost, I'll become your servant." And the boy says, "If you see an alien, then you will be my servant." Both of them agree to the bet. At night, Momo goes to an old abandoned hospital, which is believed to be a hangout spot for aliens. On the other side, Okaru goes into a haunted tunnel. It's believed that an eerie old woman lives there, known as Turbo Granny. Okaru and Momo stay in touch over the phone, giving each other tips on how to survive the ghosts and aliens. Okaru says, "I'm not afraid of these things." And just then, he sees floating footprints inside the tunnel, footprints made of blood. Okaru follows those footprints and suddenly comes face to face with a terrifying old woman whose eyes are glowing blood red. Hearing his scream, Momo understands what's happening to Okaru because her grandmother was a devil hunter. She tells Okaru not to panic or start running. If he does, the ghost will possess him completely. But the moment Okaru sees Turbo Granny, he gets scared and runs for his life. Momo rushes out of the hospital to help Okaru, but suddenly 3 aliens appear in front of her. Now both Momo and Okaru are in danger. The aliens tie Momo up and completely strip her naked. Then they say they want to be friends with her. Momo replies, "Real friends don't strip their friends naked." The aliens explain they're from Sarpo planet, where only males exist. There are no females. So now they want to have physical contact with Momo so that they can reproduce. But Momo tells them she'll never allow that. She says she's kept her virginity only for Kenta Kakura. Hearing this, the aliens try to hypnotize Momo and arouse her. Just then, from Momo's phone, the boy named Okaru emerges. now in the form of a ghost, and begins attacking the aliens. He has been possessed by Turbo Granny and is now incredibly terrifying. He attacks the aliens and starts tearing their limbs apart. At one point, Momo remembers something her grandmother, a spirit medium, once taught her, a special ritual for self-defense. Momo uses that power to break free and, using her psychic abilities, defeats the aliens. In the end, Okaru says he wants to surrender to the aliens willingly so that no harm comes to Momo. Momo then agrees to help Okaru. Okaru gives his clothes to Momo and heads back toward the tunnel, determined to break the curse of Turbo Granny. When Momo asks for the boy's name, he tells her it's Kanta Kakura, and Momo almost faints hearing it because that's the name of her favorite actor. Momo doesn't want to believe it, but Oken, the boy, assures her that it really is his real name. Momo covers her ears in disbelief. Then, suddenly, Oken starts acting like Turbo Granny and says, "Let me eat your banana." Momo immediately uses her psychic powers to throw Oken across the room and temporarily calms his curse. Then Momo says, "We need to set some rules now. Like, Oken will never say his real name in front of me again. From now on, he'll only be known as Oken." Oken lowers his head and agrees. Momo notices his face is red and teases, "Looks like you actually like this name, huh?" Oken gets so embarrassed that he throws up right in front of Momo. Momo screams, "You are absolutely disgusting!" Meanwhile, before they even reach the haunted cave again, morning arrives, which means Turbo Granny won't come out anymore. So Momo takes Okaru back to her house. But the moment Okaru crosses the front gate, his body catches fire. Momo quickly throws him into the river. This happens because Momo's grandmother had placed a talisman at the gate to block out all evil forces. Since Oken is cursed, it affected him too. Later, Momo removes the talisman and lets Okaru enter the house. Once inside, Momo sees her grandmother isn't home. She tells Okaru to wait outside because she's going to change clothes. But as soon as the door closes, Oken's curse activates again, and he breaks the door open, which makes Momo furious. Later, Momo gives Okaru some girls' clothes to wear since there was nothing else available. Momo teasingly asks, "So, is your banana really gone?" Okaru checks inside his pants and finds that there's really nothing there. Momo laughs and says, "Then show me too." Okaru quickly refuses. Oken gets angry at Momo, saying all this trouble happened because of her. Momo snaps back, "You were the one who first came to me with all that alien and ghost nonsense." Oken admits he just wanted a friend. That's why he approached Momo in the first place. Momo replies, "That's your problem. You always assume things in your head. That's why you don't have any friends." They slowly get closer again, and Momo says, "We'll talk a lot about occult stuff together." Tears begin to form in Okaru's eyes. Just then, the doorbell rings. Oken thinks it's Grandma, but Momo says, "No, that's not that bell. This is the second bell, the one that only rings for ghosts." Since Momo had removed the talisman from the gate, the ghost has now entered their house. They try to escape through the back, but outside is filled with black smoke, and they can't get out. The gate is sealed. A massive monster appears and says, "You broke your promise. Now give me your banana." Oken realizes it's not a ghost, it's an alien called the Flatwoods Monster, first sighted in America and now appearing in Japan. These creatures are massive, about 3 meters tall. Momo thinks it's a ghost, but Oken explains, "They say people who can see ghosts can also see UFOs. There's a connection between the two." Momo wants to use her psychic powers, but she can't because she's still controlling Okaru's curse. Oken says, "Release my curse, I'll fight." Momo agrees. Oken transforms back into Turbo Granny's cursed form. The alien attacks, but Okan is so fast, he bites off one of the alien's finger. Okan says, "This power is awesome, but I'm depressed." Then he vomits blood because his body can't handle such extreme speed. Momo sees the alien fighting like a sumo wrestler, so she figures if its hand touches the ground, they win. Okan breaks one of its legs, and Momo throws it down. As soon as its hand touches the ground, it loses. But the alien regenerates a new leg, grabs Momo, and throws her against a wall. Still, Momo doesn't release Okaru's curse. The alien starts beating her. Okan cries out, "Let go of my curse, I can't take this anymore." Then Momo plays her final move. She places the talisman back on the gate. The alien melts away. Everything becomes calm again. They return to the normal world. But Okan's curse still can't be controlled without Momo.
But whenever Momo falls asleep, Okaroon transforms back into Turbo Granny. Then we see a TV program where a psychic woman named Santa Dodoya is revealing a celebrity's personal details just by looking at his face, like he's 27 years old, has a wife and child, and his favorite food is curry. But all her claims are proven wrong because the celebrity says he's only 20, still single, and his favorite food is ramen. After the program ends, the managers wonder, how could this psychic woman be so wrong? Even a child could tell the guy's just 20 years old. Then the psychic woman gets into a taxi to return home. The driver recognizes Santa Dodoya from the TV and asks, "Do you really have psychic powers?" The psychic replies, "Stop the car. I'll get off here." The driver thinks she got offended, but the psychic says, "If you don't want to die, get away from here." Who the psychic woman really is, we'll find out soon. Meanwhile, Okaroon has transformed into Turbo Granny and is about to eat Momo's leg, but suddenly someone kicks him into the river. The attacker is none other than Momo's grandmother, Seiko. Seiko thinks Momo has brought home another perverted boy, but now sees it's a monster. When she tries to attack from behind, touching Seiko's body burns the granny. Seiko says, "You're fast, but I knew you'd attack from behind, so I set a trap." And now her plan is working. Granny now realizes she's trapped in a protective circle, and if she steps out, she'll burn. Seiko tells her, "Step out of the circle and you'll die. This is a barrier." Seiko herself is standing in a circle with a nailed stake. If the nail is hammered inside the circle, a barrier is created inside. If hammered outside, the barrier forms outside. So now Granny is caught. Granny then threatens, "I'll eat you. You can't keep me trapped forever." Seiko says, "I don't want to trap you. I want to free your soul." Then Seiko starts beating Granny with a bat and draws another smaller circle around her with a pencil to slow her movements. Granny angrily says, "You crazy old hag!" Seiko laughs and says, "One old lady calling another old lady old." Then Granny warns that if she's burned to death, Okaroon will die too. Seiko says, "Those who hurt my granddaughter, I will kill them." Finally, Seiko removes the nail and hammers it back in, causing Turbo Granny to burn. After some time, Momo returns to her room and finds her grandmother laughing and watching cartoons. Momo tells Seiko she has something urgent to say and asks where Okaroon is. Seiko says if they went to a haunted place. Momo admits they went out of stubbornness and now Okaroon is paying the price. Seiko says, "Your friend? I already killed him." Momo is shocked and says, "Why did you do that, Grandma?" She jokes and says, "You said you don't believe in ghosts and even called me a fake spirit medium." Momo lowers her head and apologizes, begging to bring Okaroon back. Seiko says, "Go check in the altar room." Momo angrily replies, "Crazy old woman. If anything happens to Okaroon, I'll never forgive you." Momo runs toward the altar room, crying as she remembers her time with Okaroon, but when she opens the door, Okaroon is calmly eating rice. Okaroon sees Momo and smiles. But Momo slams the door shut and starts kicking it, shouting, "You're still alive, glasses freak?" Okarun asks, "Aren't you happy to see me alive?" Momo silently sits down. Then Seiko arrives and asks, "Momo, since when did you start making friends with monsters?" Seiko tells Momo that Okarun is safe as long as he stays in this room, but if he leaves, he'll turn back into a monster again. Momo says worriedly, "I'll help him." Then Seiko says, "Looks like you like Okarun." Momo firmly says she'd never like someone like him. Momo explains that because of her own mistake, Turbo Granny took Okarun's balls. That's why he's cursed now, and she wants to save him. Seiko again says, "So you do like him." Momo gets angry and says, "I told you I don't like Okarun." She also revealed that during their fight with the aliens, her psychic powers awakened. Momo is now a psychic too. Then Seiko explains that Turbo Granny is actually a location-bound spirit who was strongest in a specific area. She's fought Granny many times before, but never won, because in that tunnel, 1,000 spirits fused to become Turbo Granny. Seiko wants Momo to forget the boy and return to her normal life because she doesn't want to lose her only granddaughter. But Momo says if Grandpa Kanta was alive, he would have helped Okarun. Then why shouldn't I? Seiko understands Momo's emotions, starts teaching her how to defeat Turbo Granny. She explains that since Granny is proud of her speed, they must trick her into a race and somehow lure her out of her territory. Then her power will weaken, and that will be the chance to destroy her. Then Momo suggests, why don't we hang a talisman outside the tunnel so Turbo Granny can't come out, and Okarun will survive? But Seiko says her talisman's power won't work in that tunnel, as it's outside her god's domain. This means Seiko's powers are territory-bound too. Since Seiko can't help them in battle, her only option is to train them. So now, Okarun has to prepare for a race, and Momo must strengthen her psychic powers. Then Seiko leaves. Okarun then apologizes to Momo, because when they were fighting the aliens, he only thought about saving himself. But Momo risked everything to save him. He says, "Next time, I'll protect you. Just don't end our friendship." Momo replies, "I'll never do anything to break our friendship." Then Okarun gets mad and asks, "Then why did you slam the door in my face like that?" Later, Momo returns to her room and sees the celebrity from earlier is being featured again on TV. Turns out he really is 27, but hadn't registered properly. Seiko and Momo laugh and say, "Curry or noodles?" The next morning, we see Okarun desperately needs to poop. But he can't go to the bathroom because if Momo can't see him, she won't be able to control the curse and he'll turn back into Turbo Granny again. Seiko says, then Momo can watch the time and control the curse while he's pooping. Okarun says that's even worse than being assaulted. He absolutely will not allow it. And Momo doesn't want to see him poop either. Then Seiko asks Momo how she controls Okarun's curse. Momo explains she can see his aura, and if she grabs his hand, the aura shrinks, and he turns normal. In fact, she can see the aura of all living and non-living things. Then Seiko says, Momo is relying too much on sight. If she wants, she can sense Okarun's aura with other senses too, and control the curse. But Momo couldn't do it in any way. Meanwhile, Okarun couldn't control his urge anymore and starts rushing inside the house. Momo tries to stop him because she doesn't want anyone using her bathroom, but Okarun uses all his strength to break in and relieve himself. Okarun says, I always wanted new experiences, but never like this. This is so embarrassing. Momo was talking to her grandmother, but when she turns around, she sees Okarun has transformed into Turbo Granny again, and Seiko is now possessed with blood coming out of her nose. Momo begs Turbo Granny to stop, but Turbo Granny says she'll use Okarun's body to kill everyone, one by one. She gives them until tonight. If they don't show up at the tunnel, she won't spare them next time.
Later, when Grandma Seiko regains consciousness, Momo tells her everything. Then Seiko prepares Momo and Okarun and bids them farewell. Momo fumes with rage because Turbo Granny attacked her grandmother. She vows to never forgive Turbo Granny. Soon, they reach the front of the tunnel. Momo tells Okarun to go first, but Okaru says, "Ladies first." Finally, both of them, terrified, enter the tunnel together. Momo asks, "After we see Turbo Granny, what should we do? Punch her?" Okarun says, "No, we have to lure her out of Soiwano City. There, her location-bound spirit power won't work. Then we can defeat her." Momo thinks, "We've defeated such big aliens. An old lady should be nothing." But when they look ahead, they see huge heads of grannies surrounding them from both sides. Momo pulls a baseball bat from her bag and throws it, but Granny swallows it through her eye. Okarun says, "Break my curse. I'll transform and fight her." Momo does that. Okarun turns into a monster, but quickly turns back into a human. Granny says in a conspiratorial tone, "I've released Okarun from the curse. Now Okarun can't transform into a ghost even if he wants to." Granny moves forward to eat them both. Momo remembers her grandmother's words. Granny is very proud of her speed. Momo says, "Since your name is Turbo Granny, then race with us." Because Granny is arrogant, she accepts their challenge. Granny will count to 10 and will run. The race begins. But Granny counts 1 to 3, then jumps to 10 and tries to catch Momo. Okarun shouts, "You are cheating." Granny says, "You never said how I should count." So she cheated Momo with her count and is now cheating Okarun too. Okarun remembers the promise he made to Momo, bites Granny's tongue in anger. Granny can't shake him off. Her power starts fading. She realizes Okarun's clothes have some power causing this. So she possesses Okarun again, and he turns into Turbo Granny. But Granny was melting. Actually, Momo is behind this. She now senses Granny's aura even without seeing and exerts pressure on her, sealing her back into Okarun's body. Suddenly, a giant crab breaks through the wall. This is the location-bound spirit. The crab chases them. They start running. Momo says, "Grandpa used to say some spirits take crab form to cross the Styx River." According to Momo's plan, Okarun uses Granny's power again, picks up Momo, and sprints at turbo speed. They jump from a mountain, spinning, and land in the city. But Okarun's power is almost gone. He can only use his power twice. Even after coming this far, the crab jumps on them. There are many human faces on the crab, but for some reason, the city people can't see the crab. Momo realizes Okarun's power is nearly gone. If it continues like this, the crab will eat them. Then, Momo says, "Why don't we eat the crab instead?" They enter a building, thinking the crab can't come in, but it breaks in. Following their plan, they lure it to a hot spring and pour hot water to roast the crab. Momo says, "Now we can eat this crab since it's been cooked." But Okarun isn't in the mood, so they start running again. And this time, they see many zombie-like humans. They're actually possessed by spirits. Turbo Granny summoned them. Okarun runs to escape the city again, but now every path is blocked. Zombies, crabs, spirits all stand in their way. The atmosphere is chilling. No way to escape alive. Then Momo tells Okarun, "Okarun, do you trust me? Then try transforming once more." Then Granny says if he uses that power again, he won't even have the strength to move next time. Momo grips Okarun's hand tightly. Okarun uses all his power to push away the spirits and run. But the spirits don't give up. Okarun now uses his wits and jumps one last time. His power ends. He turns human. They start falling. But Momo uses her psychic hand to create wings and survives. Okarun faints from exhaustion. Taking the opportunity, Granny and her gang appear. Because of Okarun, Granny is now humiliated in front of everyone. Momo should know how to respect elders, but Momo says, "Why should we respect elders who don't deserve it? I've never seen any grown-up treat kids this badly." Granny, enraged, says she'll eat them raw now, but arrogantly adds, "Since you've entered the city's boundary, if I give you just a few more minutes, you'll escape." Momo says, "Just give me 1 second." Before she finishes, Momo leaps onto the train with Okarun using her psychic hand. Granny chases after the train. Momo says, "Back in the day, Granny was called the 100-kilometer-per-hour monster. But this train runs at 120 kilometers per hour, so she'll never catch us." But Granny jumps on the train and tells Momo, "Foolish girl, trains slow down at curves. Looks like your death time is near." Now Momo and Okarun have no escape. Just then, we see Seiko sitting with a talisman. And as soon as the train enters the city, many little girl spirits come out of Granny. Seiko reveals they weren't evil spirits. They were raped and chopped into pieces, then thrown into that tunnel. From then on, their souls stayed there. They became evil due to fate's cruelty. And Granny used to live in such places where these spirits dwelt. Actually, Granny stayed with them to ease their loneliness. Hearing this, Momo has tears in her eyes, but they're happy they could send the trapped souls to heaven. At the end, that night, everyone throws a party. Momo, her grandma, and Okarun all eat crab together. Okarun says, "After all this, you guys are eating crab? How?" Then Grandma takes Okarun's crab too and says, "You got your balls back, right? Show me." "Did you really get them back?" Okarun says, "Crazy old woman, I'm not showing anyone anything." But Granny starts chasing Okarun. Everyone laughs. Okarun wants to leave, but Momo says, "Grandma was just joking. Anyway, see you at school tomorrow," and Okarun waves goodbye. He turns back smiling, and Momo gives a gentle smile.
The next day, Okarun felt uneasy about going to school. He kept thinking, what would he say if he met Momo? But as soon as he reached school, he saw Momo standing right at the gate. He assumed Momo must be waiting for someone else, so he tried to quietly walk past her. But Momo came up to him and said she had been waiting for him all this time. Then she started talking a lot about aliens, what they eat, why they see humans as enemies. But Okarun couldn't answer any of her questions. Their class started soon after, and Okarun spent the rest of the time trying to research answers to impress Momo. His classmates still bullied him, but now he didn't care because he had a wonderful friend by his side. On the other hand, Momo couldn't focus in class. Her friends thought she had broken her phone in anger after meeting her ex. But the truth was, Momo simply missed Okarun and wanted to talk to him. Okarun wanted to talk about ghosts. Momo wanted to talk about aliens, but both were desperately trying to talk to each other. As soon as lunch break started, they both went looking for each other in different classrooms. Momo went to the school store and Okaran went to the cafeteria. They kept roaming in circles but never found each other. Eventually, they ended up sitting down in the same spot, side by side, but didn't realize it. Okaran thought Momo was avoiding him because he was boring. Momo thought Okaran was ignoring her because she was too annoying. While they kept overthinking, lunch break almost ended. As they both left for their classes, they suddenly bumped into each other. That's when they realized the misunderstanding and saw that they had been looking for each other all along. Just then, Momo's friends showed up and assumed they were kissing. Momo got angry and shouted, "I would never kiss this idiot." And Okaran replied, "Why would I kiss this crazy girl?" They ended up in an argument. Momo said, "Baldy, where would you ever find a girl as pretty as me?" And Okaran shouted, "I'm not bald, I have hair." Their bickering got so intense that they swore not to speak to each other anymore. Later, in the bathroom, Okaran felt guilty for arguing with Momo. He checked himself and saw that while his banana was still there, his 2 grapes were missing. Meanwhile, rumors spread in Momo's class that she kissed a boy. Momo angrily said, "I didn't kiss anyone." Just then, Okaran came to call her outside to talk, but Momo didn't want to speak. Okaran thought she was embarrassed to talk in front of her friends, so he left, feeling hurt. Momo realized she had been too harsh with him. After school, Okaran bumped into a cute girl named Ira. She complimented Okaran. He felt shy. He'd never spoken to such a beautiful girl before. Momo watched from a distance and wondered who this girl was, since Okaran supposedly had no friends. Ira, proud of her beauty, began to manipulate Okaran. She told her friend, "He's such a fool. I just gave him a little attention and he fell for me." Momo overheard this and using her psychic hand, dropped a container on Ira's head, knocking her out. Okaran tried to help Ira, but Momo grabbed his hand and dragged him home. She said, "You look really handsome in these glasses, and if anyone thinks you're stupid, they'll get the same bowl dropped on their head." On the way, Momo apologized to Okaran for her behavior and the rumors about them kissing. She said it was very embarrassing for her, but she was proud to have a friend like him. Okaran felt happy hearing that, but then he told her he had a serious problem. They might have defeated Turbo Granny in battle, but only his banana had been returned. The grapes were still missing. Momo rolled on the floor, laughing. Seiko Grandma said, "That's why I wanted to see your balls. If you'd shown them earlier, none of this would have happened." She added, "You should have known you didn't get everything if only one part returned." Okaran said he assumed that if one part came back, the rest had too. Then began Okaran's test chapter. Seiko suspected something was still hiding in Okaran's body. She dunked his head in a water bucket and hit him with a broom. Okaran thought she was just being silly, but Momo noticed his aura changing while being hit. Seiko asked Momo to pull that changing aura out, and Momo did just that. But the aura entered a cat doll which suddenly came to life. Momo chased and caught it, and they discovered that it was actually Turbo Granny's soul. Granny explained that during Momo's exorcism, she slipped into Okaran's body at the last moment. Now her power was extremely limited, and she couldn't harm anyone. Okaran begged her to return his balls. Granny said, "I don't know, I dropped them somewhere."
Okaran got furious and transformed into Turbo Granny's form. Momo realized that even if Granny's soul was gone, her powers still remained inside Okarun. Seiko said she could return the powers if she wanted, but Granny had annoyed them for so long, so she wanted some revenge. Momo, however, extended her hand in friendship because Granny had sacrificed herself to free trapped souls. Momo promised if she returned Okarun's balls, they would give her powers back. Granny agreed, but said, "I don't remember where I left them." But since the balls had spiritual energy, they would glow like golden eggs. Momo and Okarun searched for them that night, but found nothing. Granny said someone might have already taken them because those balls contain powerful life energy that attracts ghosts and spirits. Evil spirits believe if they collect enough of these, they can come back to life. That's why they attack people and try to steal their life force. Momo panicked and said, "If someone already took them, we might never get them back." Granny responded, "Why should I care?" Hearing this, Momo and Okarun beat them with slippers and mashed them into a pulp. They decided to go home and think things through. At home, Seiko said she'd contact her network to find the balls, but warned Okarun Granny's powers still remained in him, and he had no control over them yet. The next day at school, Okarun's classmates were gossiping about how beautiful Momo was. Okarun thought, Momo really is pretty, but
he slapped himself to get rid of the thought. Just then, a boy started making disgusting remarks, comparing Momo to a prostitute. Mokarun got furious, grabbed the boy's collar and yelled, "Who's spreading these lies?" They were about to fight when Mokarun transformed into Turbo Granny's form and shouted, "Momo isn't that kind of girl. Stop spreading nonsense." Everyone got scared and left Mokarun alone. He calmed himself down and returned to his seat. Suddenly, Turbo Granny popped out of his bag. Mokarun panicked and ran out of class with his bag. He asked her, "What are you doing in my bag?" Granny said Seiko had told her she could go wherever she wanted since she had no powers left. Granny tried to manipulate Mokarun again. She said the powers were too dangerous for him to handle and that he should let her enter his body again to take them back. She promised to return his balls, but Mokarun didn't fall for her tricks. He said, "Return my balls first." Just then, Momo arrived. As Mokarun tried to tell her about Granny, Granny silenced him. Mokarun began thinking again. Momo really is so cute. He got flustered and couldn't even look her in the eyes. He ran away, and Momo chased after him. Meanwhile, Turbo Granny sneaks out of the bag and starts roaming around the school. Even though Mokarun isn't Momo's boyfriend, he's annoyed and wonders why she's ignoring him like this. Just then, Momo's friends tell Mokarun that he fought with a classmate because someone at school is spreading false rumors about Momo. They assume Mokarun is ignoring Momo out of anger after hearing those lies. Then we're introduced to Ira, the girl who thinks she's the most beautiful in the school. When Ira walks through the halls, everyone stares at her. She sees everyone as fools and uses their affection for her to get whatever she wants. But after Momo dropped a bowl on her head yesterday, she got furious and started spreading false rumors about Momo. But it doesn't end there. Ira had seen Momo's Pisces hand that day, so now she believes Momo is some kind of demon with dark powers. Ira then pulls out a golden ball from her pocket, one that had fallen from the sky into her hands. She believes she's been chosen by the heavens to fight demons because she now has the ability to see them. She starts thinking of herself as the protector of the world. But in reality, that golden ball is actually one of Mokarun's missing balls. We see that last night, while Ira was standing near a railway bridge, a golden orb suddenly fell on her head. Then she witnessed sparks and flashes in the sky, which was actually the result of Momo freeing trapped souls from Turbo Granny. It created a beautiful scene. Seeing that, Ira decided to keep the orb. At school the next day, Ira's friends bring her a Bible and a cross, as she had asked. Ira claims that because of her beauty, she's been chosen to save the world. Even her friends are annoyed by her arrogance. Suddenly, Ira spots something outside the window and points toward the field. "Who's that woman in the red dress?" she asks. But her friends don't see anything. Ira thinks this must be one of Momo's demon companions watching her. She tells her friends to hide after school. They think she's lost her mind. Turbo Granny secretly observes everything. Later, Mocharon and Momo are sitting on the school rooftop. Mocharon still can't look Momo in the eyes. He says he's just keeping an eye on Turbo so she doesn't escape. Turbo teases, "If I run, do you really think you can stop me?" Turbo then reveals she was searching for the golden balls in the school and saw a strange woman. Momo says, "Crazy old hag, why would the balls be in the school?" Mocharon also believes the balls were probably picked up by a human, not a ghost, because they look like shiny golden objects and anyone would want to keep them. Turbo warns that if a human picks them up, they might awaken spiritual powers. They'll be able to see ghosts, and the ghosts will see them back, eventually leading to dangerous ghost encounters. Meanwhile, Ira wonders, can I defeat a demon like Momo using just a Bible and a cross? She looks outside again and sees that same woman in red getting closer. After school, Ira walks up to Momo and asks to speak with her privately. At first, Momo refuses, but eventually agrees and leaves Mocharon behind. But Turbo signals Mocharon to follow them because the missing ball is with Ira. Ira takes Momo to an abandoned building, where her two friends suddenly tie Momo's hands from behind. Ira sits on top of Momo and begins performing an exorcism, yelling, "Die, demon, go back to your world." Momo, annoyed, uses her Pysic powers to throw the two girls aside. Ira realizes the cross isn't enough, so she pulls out the golden orb, believing it's a divine artifact with holy powers. Momo immediately recognizes it. That's Mocharon's ball. But Ira refuses to listen. Just then, Mocharon arrives. Momo thinks he came to retrieve his ball, but Mocharon says, "The ghost woman we've been tracking is coming to attack Ira." And suddenly, the ghost appears and grabs Ira. Strangely, the ghost keeps claiming, "You are my daughter." Then she tries to flee with Ira. Okarun transforms into turbo mode to save her, but the ghost woman catches him and shoves him into her mouth. Momo tries to help, but the ghost kicks her away using her hair, then completely swallows Okarun. The ghost reveals she's been waiting 10 years for Ira, even though Ira could never see her before. One time in the past, Ira had accidentally called her Mom, so the ghost believed she truly was Ira's mother. Now all she wants is to hear Ira say it again. Momo gets back up and demands, "Let Okarun out right now. Hurting humans is against the rules for ghosts." Ira realizes that Momo and Okarun aren't demons. They're fighting against demons. Ira says, "Let's fight this ghost woman together." Right then, Turbo Granny crawls out of the rubble and says, "That ghost is Acrobatic Silky, the one in the red dress." Ira still believes she was chosen by heaven to destroy monsters and declares that she will defeat this one too. But when Silky hears Ira calling her a monster, she feels heartbroken, and in a rage, she swallows Ira too. Then she attacks Momo. Momo, still tied up, asks Turbo Granny for help. But Granny says, "You both stole my power. Why should I help you?"
Silky wraps Momo in her hair and flings her around. Momo begins suffocating on the brink of death. Silky says, "If you call me Mom, maybe I'll let you go." When Momo refuses, she's swallowed as well, because anyone who calls the ghost Mom becomes possessed by her. Now, only Turbo Granny remains. Granny warns Silky, "Hey, little girl, if you don't give them back, you'll be in serious trouble." Silky mocks her and calls her a cat, but Granny says, "Everyone must pay for their mistakes." Turns out, Silky swallowed Momo along with some of her hair, and suddenly she bursts into flames. Turbo Granny reveals that Ira's cross was actually a lighter, and Momo used that lighter to set Silky's hair on fire. As a result, Silky spits out all three of them, Okarun, Momo, and Ira. In the fire, Silky's hair gets completely burnt. Yet she doesn't regret it. All she wants is Ira, so she can enter Ira's body. Okarun starts running away with Ira, but the narrow space prevents him from using his turbo speed. Meanwhile, Momo begins to form a plan to escape. Just then, Silky appears and throws Momo far away. She's doing all this just to get Ira back. Even so, Okarun keeps trying to escape with Ira, but Silky keeps chasing them. In this maze-like building, Okarun can't run at full speed. Eventually, Silky catches up and kicks Okarun, causing Ira to fall from his hands. Okarun is exhausted. Taking this chance, Silky tries to possess Ira so she can take over her body. But suddenly, she realizes she can't move. Momo arrives. We see that Silky's hair from all the running and chasing has gotten tangled around the entire place. This was part of Momo and Okarun's plan, because all of Silky's power lies in her hair. Silky growls, "You really think you can defeat me with these cheap tricks?" She tries to break free by kicking the structures with her legs, but Momo grabs her leg to stop her. Still, Momo can't hold her down for long, so she tells Okarun to use all his power and attack. Okarun transforms into Turbo Okarun, attacks Silky, and rescues Momo in the process. His attack is so powerful, it destroys the entire building and rips out all of Silky's hair. But using that much power leaves Okarun lying on the ground in pain. Turbo Granny arrives, sits on top of Okarun like a throne, and says, "Even with my powers, how are you still this weak?" Momo asks Granny, "What do we do with Silky now? Should we call on Grandma to perform the final exorcism?" Granny replies, "She's already weakened by my attack. She won't be able to use her spiritual powers anymore." Granny finds the missing golden orb and returns it to Okarun. "Well, at least we recovered a member of Okarun's family." Then Granny drops a bombshell. She says Ira is no longer alive. Momo checks her pulse, but she and Okarun refuse to accept it. Granny explains, any ordinary person who ends up inside a monster's stomach would die. Momo survived because of her psychic powers. Okarun lived because of his spiritual abilities. Momo tells Okarun to perform CPR, but Okarun admits he doesn't know how to do that. So Momo says, use your psychic power to directly massage her heart. As Momo starts doing this, Granny interrupts. If the heart stops beating, it's just a piece of flesh. Momo yells at Granny to shut up. Momo tells Okarun to give Ira mouth-to-mouth, and he does. She tells Granny to call an ambulance, and surprisingly, she listens. Momo and Okarun give their all to save Ira. But then, Silky rises again. Okarun says he'll hold Silky back and tells Momo to continue CPR. Silky says, you won't bring Ira back like this. The only way now is to give her my aura. Because an aura acts like a battery, and Ira's aura is nearly depleted. But Momo doesn't trust Silky. She thinks it might be another trap to devour Ira.
Silky replies, "Even if I wanted to eat someone, I can't anymore. My mouth is torn apart. If you still don't believe me, you can cut off my head right now." Granny confirms, Silky's telling the truth. This is the only way to save the girl. So they decide to transfer Silky's aura to Ira. But Momo still doesn't trust her. So she tells Okaran to keep watch, and if anything strange happens, cut off Silky's head. Meanwhile, Momo begins connecting the auras with her psychic powers, like joining two wires together. Then we're taken into a memory, a mother's story, filled with love, struggle, sacrifice, and hardship. She was drowning in debt, yet for her daughter, she bought new clothes, brought food, dreamed of a better life. She was willing to sacrifice even her life. She worked all day long, and at one point even resorted to indecent work just to make ends meet. They say no one is stronger than a mother. She believed a mother would break the sky itself to protect her child. But every time she returned home to see her daughter smile, all her pain disappeared. Cooking meals for her child, playing together, buying new clothes, in these simple things, she found peace. Isn't it true? Mothers would gladly shatter themselves into pieces just to see their child smile. But one day, everything was torn apart. Some people came, beat her, and tried to take her daughter away. She chased them, she fought, but in the end, she couldn't save her child. When she regained consciousness, she became obsessed with finding her daughter. Covered in blood, she kept running, but the guilt of not protecting her child became unbearable. Eventually, she took her own life. But her soul, it never moved on, trapped in a town of incomplete love. Even after death, she wandered in search of her daughter. She forgot her own identity. Her soul couldn't rest. Only one feeling pulled her, a little girl. One day, that little girl called out, "Mom!" That girl was Ira. Ira had seen her. From Ira's father, we learned that her real mother had passed away some time ago. But since Ira called the spirit Mom, the spirit believed Ira was her real daughter. That spirit was Silky. She promised herself to protect Ira from all dangers. Even as a ghost, she stayed beside her like a shadow. This is a mother's nature. Now that Momo is linking Ira's and Silky's aura, both Momo and Ira can see these past memories. Tears flow uncontrollably from their eyes. When Silky realizes that Ira nearly died because of her, she knows she can never forgive herself. So she chooses to repent by giving up her aura. But without aura, a soul cannot exist, so Silky's body begins to melt. Momo wants to save her, but Granny says it's impossible. Silky will now live a life of complete solitude. Her soul will never find peace, because the peace of a soul depends on the soul itself. Silky recalls the moments she shared with her daughter. She blames herself for the life her daughter had. She had only wanted to give her happiness. She thinks, if only I could have spent just a little bit more time with her, seen her joyful face one last time, maybe then I could rest. At that moment, Ira runs to Silky, hugs her tightly, crying, and says, "You're more than just a mom to me. I'm the happiest girl in the world. I never received my mother's love, but you were always there for me. I couldn't see you, yet you always looked after me. I'll never forget you, never." These words of love bring tears to Silky's eyes, and slowly she disappears into the peaceful blue sky. After that, everyone goes to Momo's house and has dinner together. Okun notices that Momo and Ira are not talking to each other. Perhaps Ira is still angry at Momo because Momo had hit her on the head with a plate. Momo realizes that she may have gone too far, so she apologizes to Ira. But Momo also wants Ira to apologize to Okun because Ira had thought of Okun as a fool. Ira says she considers Momo an enemy because Momo is a terrible demon. Hearing this, Momo gets angry and makes it clear that she is not a demon. Ira also thinks Okun is a demon because he turns into Turbo Granny in an instant. Ira doesn't even believe that Psycho is Momo's grandmother because Psycho is young and beautiful. This makes Momo even more upset, and an argument breaks out between the two. Eventually, Ira declares that she will destroy Momo one day. Momo accepts her challenge. This is the first time someone is directly challenging Momo, so Psycho encourages Ira. However, before leaving, Ira asks Okun, "You're a demon, so why did you save me so many times?" Momo again insists that Okun is not a demon. But Ira doesn't believe anything Momo says. Okun replies, "You don't need a reason to help someone." This leaves Ira stunned. She thinks there might still be some humanity left in Okun. Ira, feeling embarrassed, says that one day she will free Okun from Momo's control. Hearing this, Momo doesn't feel happy. Ira runs away thinking she is human and Okun is a demon. There should be no relationship between them. In fact, Ira is now developing feelings for Okun. Then, Turbo Granny tries to place Okun's ball in the correct spot. For this, she and Psycho play baseball. The ball will go to the right spot and hit it. However, Okun is scared and looks for another way. But Turbo Granny throws the ball hard and Psycho misses it with the bat. The ball hits Okun and he screams, "I got my ball back!" Everyone is happy. The next day at school, Momo and Okun discuss where will be the second ball. They don't know. Momo suggests meeting on the roof during lunch to plan. But Okun says he'll be busy during lunch because he has to write a report to earn some extra money. Momo suggests they meet after school, but Okun turns that down as well because he has other work. This makes Momo a bit suspicious. Momo goes to her friends for lunch, but she begins to suspect Okun is hiding something. One of her friends says, "Maybe he's flirting with another girl." Momo replies, "He's not like that." Then Momo starts worrying about Ira and goes outside to clear her mind. But suddenly she sees Okun lying on top of Ira behind the school. Seeing this, Momo's heart breaks. However, we learn that Okun is trying to become stronger to protect Momo from future dangers so he can play a bigger role in the upcoming monster battle. At this moment, Ira arrives. She has started to like Okun and wants to kiss him, but Okun stops her. Ira believes that kissing is the only way to express feelings. However, Okun likes Momo, so he was warning Ira to be careful about that. At this point, Ira knocks Okun down, and just then, Momo sees this scene.
Momo thought Okun was deceiving her, but the truth was even more terrifying than she had imagined. Just then, mysterious alien warriors appeared. Will Okun be able to protect his loved ones from the aliens? Today, we dive into the intense and thrilling experience of the Dandadan anime. Let's begin.
Momo walks away in frustration. Okarun follows her, trying to explain that what she saw wasn't real. But Momo doesn't want to hear anything. She believes that Okarun had said he was working on a report, yet she saw him making out with Ira. his shirt open and sweating. All of this has made Momo's suspicions feel true. Okarun tries to explain, but Momo silences him and goes back to class. In class, Momo can't focus. She behaves strangely and her friends start thinking she might be possessed. Meanwhile, Okarun thinks he should have told the truth, that he was secretly training to surprise Momo. But now, instead of thinking about all that, he needs to become even stronger. Just then he sees that his classroom is filling up with water and all his classmates have vanished. Outside, an unknown voice can be heard and he goes toward the hall. It was Ira's voice. All the classmates are gone and outside the windows it's completely dark. Ira suspects that Momo must be behind this. Okarun goes to look for Momo, but she is not in class. He feels like he has been to a place like this before. Momo tries to escape through the window, but all the windows are sealed shut. The water's rising. She wonders where Okarun is. Is this happening only to her? Just then, from behind her comes the terrifying hiss of a snake-like creature. Momo hides, but with the slightest movement, the creature notices her. It's a dinosaur which breathes fire from its mouth and destroys the classroom. Fortunately, Momo isn't hurt. She thinks, where is Okarun? Okarun and Ira hear the blast and rush over. Ira asks, what is that? Okarun says he doesn't know, but they've faced something like this before, when an alien had trapped them from all sides. Ira is shocked. Aliens are real, she asks. Okarun replies, yes, and they're worse than ghosts. Just then a crab-headed alien appears, wearing boxing gloves. It attacks them. Okarun switches to Turbo Granny mode to protect Ira. He tells Ira to escape, but suddenly he feels dizzy and collapses. Here we see that the Serpo aliens have returned to Okarun, stronger than before. They have altered the place in such a way that only people with supernatural powers can sense and face the changes. Ira tries to scare them by showing a cross, but the alien throws her aside. They say that only highly spiritual people can enter here, which means Ira also has such power. They have come to take Okarun's banana, but Okarun gets angry because everyone is always after his banana. Okarun explains that the Serpos are after a certain power, but this is a power the aliens will never be able to take. However, the aliens use telekinesis to overpower Okarun and tear his clothes, preparing him for an operation. Just then, some hair grabs them. It's revealed that Ira's acrobatic silky power has awakened. She has transformed just like Okarun. But Ira believes that the Almighty has chosen her, and that's why she now has this power. However, Okarun's clothes have been torn off completely, leaving him fully naked. Seeing this, Ira blushes and says, "We're not even married yet. I can't see you like this." One Serpo alien realizes that Ira might also have superpowers. He orders his boxing alien to attack her. Ira fights with him, while Okarun goes into a classroom to find clothes. The boxing alien keeps attacking her while singing. Ira eventually attacks the Serpo alien, but he uses psychokinesis to throw her away. That impact injures the boxing alien too. It turns out the boxing alien is actually a bodyguard, but the Serpos consider him to be of lower rank. Then the boxing alien attacks Ira again, but she dodges all his punches. Meanwhile, Okarun opens a classroom locker, searching for clothes. Suddenly, the boxing alien throws a jet punch that breaks through a wall and hits Okarun. Ira praises the punch, but says, "What's the point of a punch if it doesn't hit the target?" She then kicks the alien, slamming him into the ceiling, his head getting stuck there. Ira moves straight toward the Serpo alien, but he catches her again with his power. This time, Ira returns to her normal form. The Serpo alien says with satisfaction, "It's nice to see so many superpowered humans in one place." Then two other aliens get up and reveal their true forms. They told Ira, "You're fast, but you're not that powerful. We didn't plan for this, but now we'll take your power too." Ira replies, "The Almighty has chosen me. I won't lose to the likes of you." Just then, the boxing alien punches her so hard that she crashes through a wall into a classroom. Okarun comes out then, but he's still naked. He immediately transforms into Turbo Granny. But the aliens use their psychokinesis to force him back into his normal form and say, "We are going to take your power." It turns out that if all three aliens stand together at once, they can create an awesome zone where no one can even stand, let alone transform.
Taking the opportunity, the boxing alien keeps beating Okun. But suddenly, Okun grabs his punch and transforms into Turbo Granny, hurling him away. Sarpo is shocked because that should be impossible. Just then, Momo arrives and starts canceling the alien's zone with her powers. Momo tells the aliens, "I haven't forgotten your faces." In reality, the aliens had brought dinosaurs to keep Momo busy, but she cleverly made her way there anyway. Okun is happy to see Momo, but since Momo sees him naked, she calls him a perv. After that, Aira and Okun both transform back into their ghost forms. The Sarpo aliens kick the boxing alien awake again and warn him, "If you don't do your job properly, your payment will be cut." Then they inject him with a power booster that lets him fight for 24 hours. His strength increases tenfold, and he kicks Aira so hard she slammed into a wall. Momo explains that the boxer is now so strong she can't track her moves, but Okun can see them, so he saves Aira. Aira and Okun fight together, and seeing them so close in battle makes Momo jealous. Suddenly, the dinosaur reappears and kills one of the aliens. Momo and the others panic and try to escape, but then the entire school becomes flooded. Even the walls turn to water. It's all the aliens doing. Underwater, the boxing alien becomes even stronger because he has mantis shrimp-like abilities. He punches Aira away, but he can't breathe underwater, so he has to surface. Momo tells Okun to use his leg strength to move at super speed even underwater, but Okun can't swim, leaving them both in a bind. They need to pull Aira out from underwater, but the mantis alien is in the way. Okun says he'll distract him, but Momo knows that won't work. In the end, Momo uses Okun like a speedboat to reach Aira and pull her up, reviving her. Aira doesn't want to remove her clothes, but she's forced to do so because they slow her down in the water. Then they see Nessie, the mantis, and Sarpo merge into a giant creature capable of shooting lasers. They realize that if they break its neck, it won't be able to fire lasers anymore. Aira wraps her hair around its neck, but she ends up injured. Momo uses her powerful psychic ability to subdue the aliens because the boxing alien can't fight Momo. And since all the aliens are now one body, Momo can easily destroy them. But part of the alien traps Momo inside glass and drags her deep underwater so she'll drown. Okun uses Aira's hair as a guide, runs down, rescues Momo, and slices the alien in half. Once all the aliens are dead, the domain breaks and they return to school. They're relieved to stand on solid ground again, until they realize all three of them are still naked. The other students see them like this and ask, "Why are you lying here naked?" Embarrassed, they start running away because the whole school has now seen them without clothes. Next, they're seen standing in sports class in front of a very strict-looking teacher. Momo, Okun, and Aira are all worried and embarrassed that everyone saw them naked, though Aira still takes pride in her beauty. Even though Aira boasts about her powers, Okun realizes the aliens will now target her too, because as long as she has this power, the aliens will keep attacking. Momo wonders, if the aliens want ghost powers, why don't they directly attack ghosts? Okun figures out that even with their advanced technology, the aliens can't conquer Earth, because powerful ghosts protect it.
That's why ghost stories aren't just in Japan, but all over the world. In short, ghosts are the reason Earth is safe from alien invasion. No matter how scientific the aliens are, they can't defeat the yokai. That's why they target people like Okun, to study them and create technology that can defeat yokai. Momo and Aira are still worried about how they'll explain what happened at school. Will anyone believe them? Aira blames everything on Momo, saying it was Momo who told them to remove their clothes. Momo doesn't react. Then Aira's two friends pull her away. But Momo can't stop thinking about what happened behind the school between Aira and Okun, something she wants answers for. Okun finally admits the truth. He was trying to become stronger to protect Momo, and Aira tried to kiss him. They both fell, and that's when Momo saw them. Momo says if he'd told her about wanting to be stronger earlier, she wouldn't have misunderstood so much. In reality, he was just trying to impress her. Meanwhile, Aira's classmates believe Momo is to blame for the situation because she's a bad girl who has dated 4 or 5 guys. Hearing this hurts Aira, and she tells everyone Momo is not that kind of person. In fact, it was Aira herself who had spread those false rumors about Momo. Everyone is stunned. Feeling down, Aira sits outside the school. Momo approaches and realizes Aira may have learned from her mistakes, so she invites her to dinner. Suddenly, the crab alien appears again, with white liquid oozing from his body. Aira gets ready to fight, but the crab says he's helpless. He only fought for money to help his child. Then he collapses. Seeing his helplessness, Momo takes him for treatment and even offers him hospitality. The crab cries, touched that they would care for him despite their earlier fights. He explains that there's a war on his planet, which requires a lot of energy. His child has a blood disease and needs regular transfusions to survive. To afford it, he fights for money. Hearing his sad story, Okun becomes emotional and offers him his golden ball, which is highly valuable on the crab's planet, enough to cure his child's illness. But Momo disagrees, saying it's not a permanent solution. Aira looks at Okun with affectionate eyes, touched by his generosity. Just then, Seiko smells the crab's blood and realizes it's almost like milk. She gives him a glass of milk, and he yells in surprise because it's almost identical to their blood, just thicker. Seiko explains that milk actually comes from cow's blood, and since this milk has been enriched with fertilizer, it's a bit thicker than their blood. She then arranges an actual cow for the crab. The crab is overjoyed and promises lifelong gratitude before leaving. A while later, a boy arrives. From Seiko, we learn that this boy is actually Momo's childhood love. His name is Gigi.
Okun becomes worried, thinking that Gigi is handsome and cool, and now that Gigi has arrived, Momo might stop thinking about Okun. Suddenly, Gigi opens his mouth and starts shouting, and everyone realizes that even though Gigi is handsome, he is not mature. Seiko welcomes Gigi into the house, and Momo asks what's going on. Seiko explains that from today, Gigi will be staying here. Momo gets angry and starts shouting, which makes Okun even more tense. Aira assumes this must be some new demon and that Momo is gathering more demons to destroy the world. Aira warns Momo that after the alien problem is over, her next target will be to destroy Momo. Then she says she'll make her own anti-demon group and leaves. Okun also wants to leave, looking as if someone has died. Momo stops him and signals that they will talk tomorrow. It's her turn to speak. Okun agrees and leaves. During dinner, Momo asks Seiko why Gigi has come to live with them. But Gigi, being a flattering type, keeps praising Seiko, who calls him a genius in return. Seiko explains that Gigi's parents are in the hospital, so he has come to stay with them. In times of trouble, people should help each other. While washing the dishes, Momo remembers that they weren't good friends as kids. In fact, Gigi was the boy Momo used to bully and the one she mentioned in the first episode. Gigi then apologizes to Momo for making fun of her back then. He thinks he's being punished for his past misdeeds because now he can see ghosts. Momo asks if Gigi has a golden ball, but he doesn't even know what that is. He explains that when he was in middle school, they moved to Fan Valley Mountain. The house there was big, but he always felt something strange. He told his parents, but they didn't believe him. One day, a ghost appeared in front of him. From that day onward, he could see ghosts every day, and his parents' health began to deteriorate. He even invited several famous spirit mediums to his house to exorcise the ghost, but within a short time, 3 of them committed suicide. Now Seiko is his last hope. Momo says not to worry, her grandma would just kick the ghosts out. However, Seiko explains that her power doesn't work outside this area, so she can't go. The job will have to be done by Momo. The next day, Gigi goes to Momo's school, and everyone instantly develops a crush on him. The teacher explains Gigi's family situation and that he'll be studying there temporarily. However, Gigi is more interested in looking at the girls. His childish behavior shocks everyone. Although Momo doesn't like this, through the admiration of Momo's friends, Gigi manages to win them over. On the other hand, Okun was feeling down, thinking that Momo might not like him anymore. If she started dating, she wouldn't even look at him, wouldn't listen to any of his random ghost stories, and would completely forget about him. With those thoughts in mind, lunchtime arrived. Okun went to the back of the school to work out. Momo showed up and saw Okun jump into the bushes. She told him she came here to have lunch and to keep an eye on him so he wouldn't do anything weird with Ira. While Okun was doing push-ups, Momo offered to feed him by hand. In Okun's mind, he was overjoyed. Just then, Gigi appeared, bringing Momo her favorite drink. Momo was delighted. Seeing them together, Okun got jealous again and thought he didn't want to be the third wheel. For Momo's happiness, he decided to sacrifice himself. At that moment, in the science lab, a doll came to life and charged toward Okun. Frightened, Okun ran to Momo, but the doll ignored him and said no one could stop it. Momo tried to stop it with her powers, but Gigi pushed her out of the way to protect her. As the doll passed over them, Momo spotted a golden ball underneath it. She thought this might be Okun's second ball. Gigi wouldn't let go of Momo, so she used her powers to hold the doll in place. Momo started pulling on the doll again, but it refused to give in. It broke itself into many pieces to escape from her grip, then reassembled and ran away. Okun returned to his normal form, and Gigi was left stunned by what he had seen. Okun asked, "What do we do now? The doll escaped." Momo had something in her hand that she kept punching. With each punch, they could hear the doll scream. Following the sound, they arrived at a junkyard where they found the doll. Okun asked how Momo knew where it was. Momo explained that when she had broken the doll earlier, she had taken its heart. She was punching it, which caused the doll's screams. Momo told the doll they didn't want to hurt it. They just wanted to see its golden ball, which might belong to Okun. Then, in the junkyard, a girl's voice was heard as the doll started looking for someone. The doll's name was actually Taro. A moment later, Taro pulled out another girl doll named Hana. Hana asked Taro why he had risked his life to come here. Taro replied that he loved her very much. Ever since meeting her, his whole life had changed. Before, his life was black and white, but now it was full of color. Hana told Taro she was old and had been thrown away. Taro said he didn't want to go back. If he didn't do something now, he would regret it for the rest of his life. He wanted to be with Hana forever and always protect her. Hearing Taro's words opened Okun's eyes. He decided he wouldn't give up so easily, and that he would confess his feelings to Momo no matter what.
Now Momo, Okun and Gigi bring Hana to Seiko's house and ask her to let this doll stay with them as well. Besides, there's already a useless cat living there. Turbo Granny says, "Don't compare me to this doll." Seiko asks, "What happened to Taro?" Momo explains that he went back to their chemistry lab and just stood there. He said that as long as Hana was safe, he was willing to stay as a model, but at night he would come here to see Hana. The three of them fold their hands in front of Seiko, pleading. Seiko agrees and asks if Taro also had a golden ball. Momo says what she saw was actually just a Christmas ornament. Gigi comments on Momo's incredible power and says now he understands why Seiko asked her to exorcise the ghost from her house. He also says that Akun's transformation was amazing. Gigi regrets, saying if only Taro had such powers. Meanwhile, Momo is setting the dining table and Gigi is helping her. He notices some trash in her hair and removes it. Momo thanks him. Seeing this, Akun feels awful. He remembers Taro's words about the one he loves and how he will never let her go and will do everything for her or else regret it for the rest of his life. Akun decides that he will do everything for Momo and never back down. He suddenly barges in between them and says, "Momo, you have trash on you." Then Akun starts setting the table while dancing, hoping Momo will find him as funny as she finds Gigi. Gigi joins in and the two start dancing like crazy. Then Seiko tells Momo and Akun to be ready to go to Gigi's house this week because Gigi's house is cursed and they need to deal with it quickly. At midnight, we see some kids at school playing with a Ouija board. Suddenly they hear the sound of someone running away. It's Taro, who was on his way to see Hana. The kids get scared and Taro jumps out through the window. He then takes a train to Seiko's town, but on the way he gets hit by a truck and shatters into pieces. Meanwhile, Momo is waiting with Hana. It's already 4 a.m. Momo gives Hana a blanket and wonders if Taro will even come. A little while later, dawn breaks and Taro arrives. Taro thanks Momo for waiting with Hana and promises that from tomorrow he will arrive on time. Meanwhile, Gigi is sitting in his room. He couldn't sleep the whole night because the ghost's face kept appearing in front of him. The next day, the three of them head toward Gigi's house. On the train, they play many games, but Akon is terrible at them. Gigi has brought candy for everyone, and he and Momo talk about their childhood memories. Listening to them, Akun gets jealous and distracts himself by thinking about his second ball. Seeing him lost in thought, Momo asks him about it. Akun suddenly says, "My ball." Gigi asks, "Is that some kind of inside joke? Why do you keep talking about Akun's ball?" Momo replies, "It's a long story." Gigi starts cracking jokes again and Momo laughs. Akun thinks he must do something to win Momo's heart. He loudly says he wants to talk about Sushinoke, a creature that looks like a snake. Akun says Sushinoke is real, just like no one believed in gorillas 100 years ago. Soon, Sushinoke will be as well known as gorillas. Hearing this, Gigi says he's heard a story about a giant snake in his village. There's a shrine there that's more than 200 years old where they worship a snake. It's called the Sushinoke Shrine. Momo says she wants to see that shrine. Akun says there's also a shrine for a mummified kappa, and shrines like these are quite common. Now Gigi also becomes interested in Akun's book and the two start debating with each other. Akun realizes it's the first time he's talked to someone for so long without Momo being involved. He usually doesn't share such things with anyone, but he's having fun with Gigi, so they end up becoming friends. Then they arrive in Gigi's village and Momo notices there are many hot springs. Gigi says his father researches volcanoes here, which is why they live in this area. Momo asks, "The volcano won't erupt, right?" Gigi replies, "It erupted 200 years ago, but it's been calm ever since." Then after climbing a lot of stairs, they finally reach Gigi's house. Gigi rushes up the stairs, but Okon and Momo are exhausted. Momo says she doesn't feel any evil presence here and wants to take a short rest. Okun notices something in the forest but doesn't pay much attention and enters the house. We see that there are a few people in the forest watching them. After looking around the house, Momo says, "There are no ghosts here." Gigi responds, "The other spirit medium said there was a dark shadow here." Momo thinks maybe the ghosts are hiding and might only come out at night. If a ghost is weak, Momo can't detect it, making it easier for them to stay hidden. That's actually good news because Momo can easily defeat such ghosts. Hearing this, Gigi becomes very happy and goes to get juice for Momo. Momo asks Okun to sit next to her. As soon as Okun sits down, Momo says she's going to bathe in the hot springs and will be back before evening. After Momo leaves, Okun and Gigi start playing football. Okun has never played football properly, so Gigi teaches him how to play. Meanwhile, Momo has gone to the hot springs on purpose so that Okun and Gigi can spend time together, hoping they'll build a good friendship. She's noticed that Okun has never really bonded with anyone like this before. Okun tells Gigi that Momo was his first friend and that he respects her a lot. Gigi says he loves Momo's looks and personality. Okun says, "Me too." Then they start arguing over who loves Momo more. Gigi says he wins because he is Momo's childhood friend. Okun remembers a time when he accidentally kissed Momo and blushing says, "Then I win." Momo begins to get out of the water, but suddenly 5 men enter and start making nasty comments towards her. Okun and Gigi are both exhausted. Gigi extends a hand of friendship to Okun, but when Okun reaches out, Gigi grabs him and says, "Now you have to admit defeat." Suddenly, Okun's eyes shift towards Gigi's house, where he notices an extra wall that can't be seen from the outside. Gigi also thinks he's never seen that wall before and suspects there must be a secret room behind it. Meanwhile, the 5 men also get into the water and continue harassing Momo. She wants to get out but she can't because her clothes are outside. The men keep moving closer, taking advantage of the situation. At that moment, Gigi starts smashing the wall with a hammer. Behind it, they find a secret room filled with thousands of talisman charms hanging everywhere. And that's where Dandadan's first series ends. So friends, what is the real mystery of Gigi's house? Are there ghosts inside? Who are these men attacking Momo? We'll find out all of this in the next season. If you're excited, I can explain the next season too. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Your one like boosts my motivation even more. Also, let me know in the comments if you want me to explain the next season. Thank you.